You're welcome back. First, we're going to be measuring, and I'm going to subtract 7, mark out your 9 inches, then the handle bust length and the half length. This part of the tutorial has been done, I think, last week, so you can check for how to create illusion neckline. Now, to fold the fabric, I use the bust circumference measurement divided by 4 plus 2. And because it's a padded dress, there's reason to add extra 2 inches, so extra 2 inches is added to the measurement. Now we have our shoulder divided by 2, then you consider the extra 2 inches. So connect to the bust points, then from the bust to the under bust circumference. So we're going to cut this out first. The next thing is to fold based on the bust span. The bust span here is 8 inches, which is 4. I will be folding 4.5 inches. Now, after that has been done, I need to note the under bust length. So remember, it's -7. So the under bust length, we need to mark it out, which is 15, and here is 15.5 because of my seam allowance. Then I also need to get the bust point. So the bust point is taken from the under bust length, which is 4 inches for this measurement. So you can take your measurements because it varies. At the base, I'll be taking out 1 inch from my 4.5, so I have 3.5, which stops at the under bust point. Then on the neckline, I'll be taking out 1.5, so I'll have 3 inches. So here is my 3 inches, and then I'm going to connect the points from, here's my the nipple point, so the under bust to the nipple point, then from the nipple point to the neckline, and then we'll cut. Now the next thing we're going to do is to work on the middle piece, and to do that, I am going to subtract half an inch. Just take half an inch so we can carve out the shape. You can still increase this depending on how wide you want your illusion, that's the opening on the front part of your design. You can increase this if you don't want it to be too close, but for me, I'm fine with half an inch. So now I can just curve it, create my curve, meet with the half an inch, then I'll slant just like this. So this is what we have. The next thing we're going to do is to cut out the illusion parts. First, I need the length. The half length is 18, so I'm marking out 18.5 inches. We took out 7 inches on the other fabric, so I'm just going to mark out my 7 inches, and like I said, yours can be 6, can be 8, depending on your choice. Then this is the armhole length of 9 inches. The next thing to be done is to get our shoulder measurements, and then shoulder divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll just mark out my 8 inches all the way. Then I'll curve it out just like this. Like I said earlier, I already made a tutorial on how to create an illusion neckline, so you can watch that on my previous video, how to cut illusion neckline. So you create your neck design depending on your choice, and then the 1 inch shoulder slants. For the neckline, I use 4 inches depth and 3 inches width. Now I'm taking out 1 inch here. Remember, on the fabric it was half an inch. Then at the base, I'm going to mark out half an inch. So the half an inch continues. So I'm going to create But first, let's cut. I'm going to cut it out like this. So now it's better we place this so we can get the same curve, the same edge that we have on the Ankara fabric. So I'm just going to trace it out like that. Then we have the neckline, so you can go ahead, cut your desired neckline and the shoulder slope of 1 inch. So at the end we're going to have this. Alright, now we are going to cut out our wadding and our lining for this. Here's my wadding. All you need to do is place your fabric and cut out wadding and the lining for each piece. So let's move to the next. Here is my lining. Like I said, place your fabric, cut out your wadding, that's for the Ankara fabric, and also you need to cut your lining. And for the lining as well, I'll be using paper stay on it. Now to the back bodice, the length, the half length is 18.5 inches and armhole is 9 inches for this particular measurement. Because of the bust, it's a medium size. And then we have first I need to measure 2 inches for the zipper allowance. So here's my 2 inches. First I'm going to hide that extra 2 inches so we can bring out a circumference measurement. Here we have the shoulder divided by 2, which is 8. Then on the 9 inches I have my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches. Then below it we have the under bust circumference divided by 4 plus 2. It's the same as your bust circumference divided by 4 plus 2 is same as your bust circumference plus 8 divided by 4. So create your L shape in order to get the armhole properly. Then from the bust you connect to the under bust circumference just like this. Then from the L angle you can get your armhole. So let's cut first. So to get the armhole perfectly, just measure 1.5 inches from the point and connect like this. To create the neckline, you can measure depending on the length you want. That's the net. You can measure 14, you can measure 13, 15, 16, depending on how low you want it. And on the shoulder I'm just going to take out 2 inches. So I'm marking out 2 inches and I can connect to my 14 inches depending on the shape you want. If you want a V shape, connect like a V, just sketch it out. If you want it to be a curved shape, you can create a curved shape like this as well. The next thing we are going to do is the neckline. For the depth I'll be using 5 inches, you can use 6 inches, you can use 7, you can use 8 depending on your choice. And the width measurement is 3 inches, so I'll just mark it out. Then the shape, it's a V shape for me. And of course I'm going to measure out my 1-inch shoulder slant here, so I can connect from the neckline like this. So let's cut. Now we are going to cut out this part of the back, because I really do not want any bulge forming at the back. I don't want any bulge, any bag, any excess. Yeah, so just take 1 inch, like around the midpoint for the back, 1 inch, so we can trace it out like this. Connect from the neckline to your 1 inch and cut. Now we're going to be cutting out this with using the Ankara fabric, and I'll be using the lace fabric to cut this out. This I have done. So what we are cutting is 2 for the lace and then 2 for the Ankara fabric for the left and the right hand side. Also, you need to remember to cut out your lining. Remember to iron your stay on the fabric and on the lining as well. Now moving to the flare, I am folding a double flare. Okay, I think I'll be uploading on my next class different types of flare, from single flare, the double flare, the full flare, the different types of full flare that we have, from 90, 180, 360, 720, 1000, 440, 2000, 880, like that. So I'll be uploading that very soon, so I'm sure you do not want to miss out. Okay, the full length 59, and I'm just marking out 60 inches. Now I'm going to join, because my fabric will not be enough. I'll need to join more fabric to that. So what I'm doing here is minus 18 inches, which is the half length, and the rest of the length, which is 59, plus my allowance, to make it 60 inches. Now we can cut. Here on the waist, it's your waist measurement divided by 4, since it's double flare that I folded. Okay, so for the base parts, we are going to join. And to do that, just pick your Ankara fabric. Remember, it's the folded parts that we need to attach more fabric to. So I'm just going to fold my fabric as well to cover up for the remaining parts, just like this. So just stress it out and then cut. Now we are moving to the sleeve. You can always have your desired sleeve type. There are various types of sleeves that you can create. I am also going to upload that very soon. But for this, it's a balloon sleeve. So your basic sleeve, the highest round sleeve, take for instance 14 divided by 2 will give you 7. So for the 7 inches, you can add as much allowance as you want. You can make it 10, you can make it 12, 15, 20. Just fold based on your desired measurement, so that will determine how big you want your sleeve. Here I am taking out 4 inches, which is the constant measurements. And then the basic sleeve, if I fold the basic sleeve, I will have 9 inches. So here is my 9 inches. I need to get the midpoint, which is 4.5 inches. Now to create my curve, I'll make sure from the 4.5 inches I slant down just like this, and then continue to the edge of your folding. If you have your curve, your French curve, it will help you on this part to create your curve on your sleeve. Here we are done cutting out the sleeve. The next thing to do here, I am going to attach my elastic. That's a matter of choice. If you want the elastic at the very edge, you can go ahead. Here's the cutting of the belt. For me, I'll be using the length of about 40 inches, and to fold, I am folding 8 inches. So I first folded my 8 inches, then folded again. I have 4 inches. So the edge here is slant or reduced. Okay, it has been reduced to 2.5. So just create your belt. It's not necessary you have a straight belt. If you want a slant shape, you can just do that. Just create your belt something like this. The edge is 2.5 and the wider part is 4 inches. Now to the sewing. First I'll be joining my fabric. The wadding has been ironed on my fabric already. I used a soft wadding in this tutorial. So I'm going to join those two, and I'll join the other two. Whatever I'm doing on those parts of my material is what I'll be doing on the other side. Now we are going to notch so it will relax. We're going to notch, and we're also going to iron. To iron this part of your style, you need to open it up, sprinkle some water, and then you place your iron. Do that on the other parts as well, and then we move to joining the lining. To join the lining, the same way I have joined my fabric is the same way I'm going to join the lining. So I'll join this part, then join the other part as well. Next, we're going to be attaching our nets. So place your fabric like this, and I am going to place the lining. So we're going to be taking it gradually, little by little. We're going to be joining, continue the joining. So you move your nets, you place it well, and then you place the lining until we are done joining this part. So whatever we have done here, we'll be repeating the same on the other side of our dress. So just take it little by little, go gradually until you're done. Remember that all our tutorials now is on Kharis Kreations. If you are yet to subscribe, do that now. Remember to turn on your notification bell to receive notifications for my upcoming tutorials. You can leave your comments in the comment section. I will answer whatever comments, questions that you have. Also, remember that the tutorials on O Africa TV still remains, and I'll also be there to answer your comments. Meanwhile, you still have to enjoy more of me on O Africa TV. So now we're going to top stitch on the lining. This is going to help our style relax. It's going to help the lining relax well. So once you iron, it relaxes. For the side as well, we need to close it up so we can hide the edges. Turn it inside out. Do the same to the other side of our dress, and we are good. So here you just follow the same step. Now we're going to place the lining and join just like we have done on the other side of our dress. Now this is the end result. Here is the inside. The next thing is to move to the back. Here I have my Ankara and I have my lace pattern. So I'm going to join. We're going to use our lining as well. We have the lining for the Ankara fabric only. So now first place your nets like this, and then we'll place the lining. While joining, you are going to leave like about 1 inch on the fabric. Yes, about 1 inch. We have your Ankara fabric and the lining alone. It means the lace fabric will not get to the very end. You can see it's not get to the very end of your joining. That's because we still need to hide this the edges here on the main fabric. But first we need to notch and top stitch on the lining before we come back to that. All right, the extra 1 inch that we left, we can now close the edges using the lining to turn. Turn it inside out and see. Here is what we have. We need to close the other side as well, so just turn it like this. Now whatever we have done on this part of our dress, we will do the same to the other side. Place your fabric, place your nets, and then your lining as well. Having done that, we move to that part of our dress. Now, because of the extra inches that we added for the zipper allowance, our that line will now become 5 inches. So we need to notch the other parts as well. To hold the dart, I am going to measure 4 inches from the base. So measure your 4 inches and hold your dart on both sides of the back bodice. Do that and do the same to the other side. Now this has been done, we move to joining the shoulder. So join the two shoulder, then we move to bringing out the shapes on both sides. Remember to always iron and weave all the necessary parts on your dress while sewing. Now to bring out the shape, we have the bust, which is 40 divided by 2 now will give us 20. That means we have 2 inches on both sides. So I'm taking out 1 inch on each side. Then the underbust circumference 36 divided by 2 will give us 18. I have 2 inches excess, so I'm taking out 1 inch on both sides as well. Now we can join. If you have any excess on the armhole, on the shoulder, you can just trim it out. Do that on the other side as well, and then we move on. Now here's the part that was that we need to join to the Ankara fabric. So let's join it first on the flare before attaching it to the main dress. Now here is my flare, so we have to place the flare parts first and then the half bodice, which is the half length, and then we have the lining. Now whatever length you have for the main flare, you can reduce the length of the lining by 10 or by 5 inches. Also the hip measurement, just multiply it by 2 to cut out the lining. If your hip measurement is 48, so you can have 48 times 2 as the width of your lining. So now I am going to be pleating it. I'll be pleating the lining since it is excess. I'm going to be pleating it as I join both the half length and the flare together. So let's see what it's like. Here we are. The next thing to do is to join to fix our zipper. But first you have to note the joint parts. You have to make sure it aligns, the both side aligns. It is very, very important. That's important as well. We need to measure to the point where we need to this is where we'll be fixing our zipper. So just measure, then you join from there to the very end of your flare. So I'll be joining the fabric alone, then I'll come back to join the lining alone as well. That has been done, and then the next thing to do is to fix a zipper. Now we move to the shoulder measurements in order to fix a sleeve. The shoulder is 16, so in case you have excess, just trim it out. If you have excess on your shoulder, you can trim it out. Here is my sleeve. I'm taking 5 inches. I need to attach this because it's a lace material, so in order to cover my elastic, that is why I need to attach this. This is just part of the lining that I use in order to create a space for my elastic. So just do that. You can do that as well on the other sleeve. And if your elastic is going to be at the very end of your sleeve, you don't necessarily have to do this. All you need to do is just attach your elastic to the edge. So here I am passing my elastic and I'm going to close the 2 edges. That's the starting point and the end point of my elastic. You need to stitch so it won't loosen out. Okay, now so that has been done, we need to join the sleeve. So we don't necessarily have to bring out a particular shape for the sleeve, since what we need is excess measurement. That has been done. Now we can join our sleeve. You have to watch out for the joint parts on your sleeve and the joint parts on the side of your main dress. Make sure it aligns and then you join your sleeve. You also need to join the base of your dress and also the neckline. So that's the end of our tutorial. I'm sure you find it interesting. Leave your comments at the comment section. Until I see you next class,